Hello and welcome to Tim Talks Audio Live. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. What's going on, Kyle? How you doing, bud? Thanks for joining. Today we actually have something a little fun to talk about. You may notice on stream that things look a little weird. Hey, that's playing over there. I don't want that. Shut up, you. That sounds like me. Sorry, I got another machine going on over there. Okay, so you might notice something a little different about this week's stream, and that's that the camera looks different. The camera looks different for a very good reason. That's because I actually took my mix room, which I'm sitting in right now, and flipped it 180 degrees. So I used to be sat over here, and you would see the corner back here or whatever it was. But now what I've done is I've taken my room, and I've switched everything 180 degrees. I'm going to put out a video of the whole process and everything. Oh, great. Thank you, Kyle. Sounds good. So I'm going to put out a video of the entire process, which it is a process. It's everything, especially mine. I have hardwired network going through. I have all of the audio lines going through. I have video lines ran all around. Thanks, Luca. So I have hardwired network, audio lines, video lines. I got a bunch of things that I needed to reroute inside of my room. What's going on, Bobby? Thanks for joining. So why did I flip my room? That's a very good question. You might notice behind me, it's actually over here. That's the door to get in and out of the room. And that used to be on my right side. When I sat over here, this looks great. When I sat here, or actually it was a little bit up more, I didn't have much on my right side other than reflective surfaces. Directly behind me, there's a closet. And then that's the door to get in and out of my room. And I put a little strip in there, and that's where the light switch is, but we're not going to worry about that. And it helped a little. But when I looked at it and I flipped my room around, I had two bare walls that I have panels on. You see this panel here, and there's another one opposite over here. And you've seen in my videos before, I have corner traps in both of the corners that are actually over here now. They used to be behind me, but you can see where the door is over here. There's no trap over there. I am going to build a trap that I can actually swing out to help reduce some of the bass frequencies. But for now, it'll be like that. And that's the way it's been for a while, too, because I need to be able to get in and out of this room. So that's the one main thing, main reason why I flipped my room, is I now have better symmetry on my left and right sides. Plus, I now have panels, which were already there, and I didn't need to do anything extra, that are going to help my stereo imaging, because now I don't have this extra bounce from the right side, which was coming from these doors back here. That little strip helped a little, but it can only do so much. So the next things that I need to do, eventually I have to go out and get some more product to build a cloud. I have nothing above my head right now. So it's just the standard drywall. Actually mine's like a plaster wall because my house is very old. Ceiling above me, and then I have a hard tile floor underneath me. There's a rug, but it's a hard tile floor with a very thin rug on it, and then just a hard surface above me. So next thing to happen is I'm going to put a cloud in. And that will help my top-down bounce. I'm now also facing a window, which is okay, but then you can't see. I took one of my panels, and actually I'll spin it around. So behind me now, it's going to be bouncy, is this panel here. And this will help the sound waves that go from the front to back of my room. It'll absorb. It's nice and wide. It's about 50 inches wide. It's a little bit wider than 4 feet. But it's not very tall because of where it used to be was a very thin area. So I just took it, turned it on its side, and now I have a nice sideways panel that's at head level back here. The camera throws it off, but it is at head level. Let's bring this back over here. Oh, sorry for the sound. It's going to be a little bouncy for a second. So I'm doing okay. I also don't have anything on the ceiling by where this couch is, and that'll be something else that I'll address as well. Until I do those things, I will have a little extra bounce. But more importantly, and what we're going to get into, is not really anything mixing or mastering, which we might get into later. Because there was a request to go over how to, sorry, I'm just trying to adjust the camera a little, how to start to build a rock song from nothing. But more importantly, and something that a lot of people don't know how to do, is measure your room to see what the acoustics are in there. Now, I've done this numerous times, especially when I was facing the other way, but I want to show you the step-by-step process of getting the equipment that you need, which is not a lot. You already have an interface, which I imagine that you do. It's just, you literally need one microphone input that can supply phantom power. Something you may not have that you should buy is an Rta microphone. I have this one here. It's kind of hard to see, but let me pop it off. I'll bring it over. This is the Dayton Audio EMM6. It's on, you can get it from partsexpress.com. It's about $50. It comes with the very important calibration file. It's the acoustical measurements and curve of this specific microphone. Just gonna slap that back on the stand real quick. So we're gonna use that into our interface, into a free program called REW. REW is Room EQ Wizard, and that's what we're going to get into. So let me just do this, and we'll dive in to Room EQ Wizard. This, like I said, this is free. It's from hometheatershack.org. There's always putting out like new updates to it. Just did mine too, but the acoustics aren't done. That's what I'm doing today, Michael. One, thank you for joining me, but that's what we're doing today is we're actually going to go over kind of setting up REW, taking a couple measurements, and I'm going to show you what my room currently sounds like, which is actually very similar to what it used to sound like. It's just I'm on the opposite side. Almost everything is identical because I flipped to 180. But let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is obviously open up the program, and this is what it looks like when it first opens up. You do need to do a couple steps to get REW ready before you take measurements. You can't just open it up, hit go, and take your measurements. So for me, I'm going to do command comma, and that opens up my preferences. If you're on PC, you just go into like file preferences or something like that. So a few things to check at first is you do need to calibrate for your sound card. I've already done this, but to calibrate, let's get some water. To calibrate for your sound card basically tells REW this is the measurement of the interface or the sound card, whatever you have. You take an output from your sound card and put it right back in. You tell it, which one is the output and which one is the input, and it sends signals through and it tests the response of your interface. I already have that, and that's what this calibration section down here is. I can clear it, but I don't need to because I know that this is my UAD Apollo. That's my name, obviously. First floor, that's where I am in my house, in my mix room. This is the same room when I built this calibration file, so I'm not worried about this. Next thing you're going to want to do is if and when you get your Rta mic, you are going to want to make sure that its calibration file is in REW because you want REW to compensate when it listens. In your preferences, and we'll come back to the sound card one, but you just go to mic/meter and you select that you have a microphone, and then you just load in the .text file. You'll get this from whoever you get your measurement microphone from, but you do need this calibration file because that is how this microphone has picked up and gone through its tests to listen to things. So it's saying like, oh, well, this microphone has +1 at 1.6, blah, 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 blah. It's per the microphone, and every microphone is slightly different. That's why you need to have the calibration file for your microphone. And that's what I have here. Oh, you know what I haven't done? Let me just do this real quick. In my preferences, no, I know there's an update. I need to do, hang on, accessibility, and make my mouse a little bigger. Cursor size, boop, this will help you guys. Sorry, I forgot to do that last time. Okay, so now you can see things a little easier. Okay, let's go back into my preferences. So I've loaded in my calibration file. REW knows what my microphone is supposed to sound like and will compensate for that. Back on sound card, your output device will be your interface, whatever it may be. Mine is the UAD Apollo. Yours could be a Presonus audio box, the little 96 guy. That's fine. You can do this with any interface. You just need to have a microphone input, an XLR in, the mic, phantom power. That's all you need. So my output device is set. Buffer is 16K. That's fine. It's not doing a lot of work. Any delays is all compensated for and everything. Output, default output, is going to be the universal audio, but it would be the same thing anyway. And we're going to start with the left. Now, this comes with a lot of things because this is actually built to help you tune home theater systems. So that's why you'll see things like left and right, center, LFE, surround left, surround right, etc., etc., etc. We're just going to use left and right because we're doing stereo mixing. I don't have a surround setup in here. So I'm going to work with left. If you need to change your output channel, you probably don't, but you could do that here. The input device, make sure it's the same one that you have your microphone plugged into. Mine is a universal audio. Again, the buffer doesn't matter. Default input is going to be 1 for me. It's going to be different for you depending on where you plug your microphone into. And then loopback is you can take an output from your interface and put it into another input on your interface, and that helps REW measure distance and time. I'm not going to do that this time, but this is how you do it. So if you have a loopback input, maybe, so over here, your timing reference output, maybe this is my right or another set of outputs. So like maybe 3 and 4 or output 3 would go to my timing reference, and then I would plug my output 3 from my interface into input 2. Then I have the loopback input. I know this sounds confusing. Even saying it out loud sounds confusing. I'm not going to worry about it this time. But if you wanted to adjust your timings on everything, this is where you set it. Where does it look for that timing reference to come back in? That's what your loopback input is. Okay, couple more things, and then we can get into the measurements. Sweep level, minus 18 dB full scale. You can adjust this. I think this is what the default is, and if not, I would just set it to minus 18. Usually when you calibrate, minus 18 dBFS is just about, or should be, 0 VU, or 0 dB A. No, 0 dBu in the real world. So like an analog 0 is minus 18 dBFS. That's why sweep level is at minus 18. Okay. Then one of the last things is levels. Use main speaker test signal because you don't want just low energy coming out. Use subwoofer test signal is literally just low end because, like I said before, this is built to tune home theaters, but we're doing it for our mix room. So we're going to use main speaker signal to check set levels. When I hit check levels, you're going to see the menu is going to change. So it's going to tell me a bunch of stuff down here. And I'm actually... Let's make sure that you may hear this. It might send some signal. So what it does is when you hit check levels, the dBFS and the output meter over here will start sending signal. The in is listening to the microphone that you have plugged in and making sure that it hears the same volume. I was turning up my speakers because I didn't want it to like blast me. But what you would do is have your speakers set at their levels, and then you could turn up the gain on your measurement microphone until it's in the same general region. If I do this again real quick. You could see that my outputs and my inputs are very close to one another. They do not need to match. They just need to be very close. And reference in also, this is talking about that loopback input and the timing reference. This is looking at one of my other inputs, probably this mic, but so I'm not going to worry about that right now. So my levels are good. I know that my speakers are calibrated because I've done that. And basically what you need to do to calibrate your speakers is set... you can use your phone, or if you have like one of those Radio Shack SPL meters, is you want pink noise or white noise at minus 18 dBFS coming out of your speakers, and then you turn your speakers up until the right dB within your room. So some people might say, or dB SPL. So some people might say 70 dB SPL, 75 dB SPL. This is all going to be kind of based on your rooms, and it's going to be based on where you are, and if maybe you're in like a sealed room, you have big speakers, small speakers. So you just have to find something that's comfortable. But the important thing is making sure that both your left and your right speaker are the same volume or the same dB SPL. Don't go by, if you have an active speaker and it's got a volume knob on the back, don't go by what, like those little markings on them. Those are totally inaccurate. Literally just have, you can have the app on your phone. There's a bunch of manufacturers out there who have SPL meters for your phone. It's got it already calibrated to the microphone that's built in. Set it where you sit, turn it up until, let's say your target is 75 dB SPL. Turn up your left until it's at 75 dB SPL. Turn it off, turn on your right, set it to 75 dB SPL. And then now you know both of your speakers are calibrated to the same volume. Okay, we've gone over all of the boring stuff. Now let's actually do some measures. When you hit measure here, it's going to ask you to do some things. Most importantly, you're going to want to name it. I know I'm testing my Cali Audio LP8 on the left, so I've named it as such earlier when I did a test. I want it to sweep from 10 hertz all the way up to 22,000 hertz. This extends past human hearing, and it also extends past what my system is capable of doing. But that's okay, because we want to see what the room will react to outside of human hearing, because maybe it's something going on at like 15 hertz, and there's a harmonic that's happening, which is in the range of human hearing. So that's why we have extended frequencies here from 10 up to 22,000. Our level is -18. This is the same thing we saw before, dBFS. This is just like a little, it's showing you that it is seeing input. Length, you have a lot of options here. I forget where, I think it was on the John Sayers forum, where somebody had said set it to 256K and do 2 sweeps. This is going to take about 10 seconds to do. For timing, right now I'm not doing a timing reference, but if you had yours set up, you could use loopback as timing reference or use acoustic timing reference. Again, I'm not going to worry about this right now. Protection, abort. If heavy clipping, ideally you have your level set, so you're not going to get into clipping. Playback from REW, because it's doing its thing right now. Sample rate is set to whatever your system is set at. So I know my most of my stuff, if not everything, is set for 48K for me, because I do a good amount of video work as well. The delay is when you hit start, how long until it actually goes through its sweep. So I have it set for 3 seconds, and there's good reason, because maybe you want to leave the room, close the door, and let everything settle. So you need to be able to give yourself a delay to get out and do that. I'm just going to go sit on the couch and still be in here, and it's not going to do too much for me. Output, I'm confirming that I'm going to test my left. That's why I have my name up here. And my input is set to number 1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my measuring microphone, and I'm going to put it about where my head would be. This is why it's on the stand. I have it pointing towards the front of the room. There are some people who say have it pointed up. Some people who say have it pointed at a 45 degree. It's an omnidirectional microphone. It's going to pick up everything from everywhere, but test it yourself. It might be different for you. So I'm going to turn this one off. But before I do need to do something on my UA Apollo, and that is I'm going to change things. I'm going to turn this one off. And now, you may have heard, I probably sound different if I turn this thing away. Now you're hearing me from this microphone that's right next to my face here. You're going to hear this. It's not fun. It's literally just a sine sweep that goes from 10 hertz all the way up to 22,000. It's going to have a 3-second delay because I'm going to go and sit, and then we're going to let it settle, and you'll hear what happens. And then we'll take a look at the measurement. So here goes the first one. So there we go. This is, I'm going to click here. Oh, sorry. Click that. Scroll down. This is the measurement. Let's go back to the other one. Bring this guy over. Okay, that probably sounds better now. So you might be looking at this going, what on earth is that? This is the measurement of my room, but it's everything. It's very informational, and you can see it gets a little crazy up in the top area here. What I'm going to do is in REW is apply some smoothing, and what I'm just going to do is the psychoacoustic. This is kind of what your ear would hear. This looks more normal. This is the graphical representation of the acoustics of my room. Most importantly, and when people say treat your room for the low end, there's a good reason why. This is the bane of my room. This is 139 hertz, and I've known since I was facing the other way that my room has a resonance right around 137, 138, 139, 140. Somewhere in that area, my room takes off, and that's what this big bump here is. I also have a big dip right here at 85. It says 84.8 down here on bottom. You can see it. So this is another acoustical thing that happens in my room, specifically my room, because that's what we're looking at. This may not be the same thing for your room. You may have a bigger room and your numbers are going to be totally different. But what are we trying to do here is, get our overall average. So let's say over here is our dB SPL numbers, and you can see it's set to just even numbers. If our target number is 78 dB, which we're kind of close to, the top end comes down a little bit, so it comes down to like 76. This will all smooth out once I have a cloud as well. If our target is 78, then right here, I have a difference from 78 to 84. That is, what is that? The math real quick is a 7 dB bump at 140 hertz. That's enormous. If we're shooting for 78, then 2, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. That's a 7 dB bump from our target if it's 78 dB SPL. If it's 80, then even still, that's a 5.5 dB bump because you see 84.76. Then, again, if our target is 78 or if it's 80, then at 85 hertz or 86 hertz, right where the bell comes down, it's at 73. So I'm -5. And then there's another minor little bump over here. What is this? This is at 47 hertz. So it's 4 dB above our target. Let's say our target is 78. So how do we compensate for this? We'll get into that. What I'm going to do real quick is do another measurement, and I'm going to do it from the right. So let's change things up again real quick. Move that out of the way. Now you guys are hearing me from the measurement mic again. We're going to do another measurement, 2 sweeps, but now we're going to go out of right. I'm going to walk away. We'll have 3 seconds, and then it's going to sweep. Okay, here we go. Same thing. Let's switch back to our other mic. Okay. So we're not listening to this thing anymore. Now we're listening to this guy. I'm just going to do the shortcut to do our same psychoacoustic. What is this? Smoothing. Thank you. Thank you, me. So we can see very similar thing. 136. Same hump. And I can even do an overlay so that I can see both of them. I'm going to make this real big for you. Both of them are sitting right on top of each other. The same thing. This is my room. Now, one speaker is slightly different from the other. One's at 84.7 dB. The other one's at 82.9. It's a decent difference. It's about 2 dB. But I'm not too worried about it. It could just be where the microphone is positioned, and it could be a number of different things. But we can see, generally speaking, our target is about 78. We can zoom this in and just touch more. This one. So if our target is 78, we have a big jump here. And what is this? At 230 hertz on the right speaker, which I forgot to name, which I'll rename it later. But I know that the green is my right. There's a bigger dip, and that's probably just from where the speaker is sitting in the room. Then also down here at like 80 hertz, where that other one was on our left, there's a bit of a smoothing thing. But generally speaking, everything's about the same. There's minor differences here and there, including this one up at 11K on the right. I'm not worried about that. I want to handle the low end in my room. So let's just rename this, because that was supposed to be the right, and it is. Okay, so now we have our two measurements of our left and our right speakers. They're very close to one another. But what we need to do is create an EQ to counteract what our room is doing. Now, this is what some of those software DSP people or companies are doing. Things like SonarWorks Reference 4. There's IK Multimedia's ARC system. There's a number of them out there. There's a few of them out there, which are very good. They're very powerful tools. And once you have your acoustic treatment in place, then you can also use their tools to adjust the sound of your room. I'm going to move this thing real quick, because it's killing me. And I'm back. So you can definitely use something like SonarWorks Reference 4, or IK Multimedia's ARC used to be one. These things are good tools. Talking to some people who have used them before, including some people who know way more about acoustics than I do, is the fact that you can't limit the range of the frequency spectrum that it is going to affect. If you're going to put it on, you're going to put it on the entire frequency spectrum. And when you do that, when you get into the top end, or really anything above like 500 hertz, it can sound, some people have said plasticky, it can sound false. So I don't want to really do that. I just want to affect my low end to balance it out. I know that my top end is okay. It's a little bit above. Let's say our target is 78. In our mid range, it's slightly above. In our upper mid range, it's slightly below. And I'll show you some of my old measurements as well. There's a decent mid range bump. Like, these things I can deal with. What I want to situate is everything in the low end over here. So we need to create an EQ curve that we're then going to load into. I'm going to use FabFilter Pro Q3, but you can put it into really pretty much any EQ that's available, because you need to be able to adjust the bandwidth of your EQs and the gains, and obviously the frequencies. Do you need to do linear phase EQs? You can, but you'll when you're mixing, you'll when you put it on, you'll see that there is there's obviously the latency that goes in with with linear EQs and things like that. So I'm just going to use FabFilter, and I'm going to use it in its natural state, not the linear style, but I can always change that later. So let's figure out how to compensate for our EQs here. When we go up to EQ, I'm now looking at just my right. What I want to do is I want to go to my equalizer here, and I'm going to say that it's a mini DSP. If you have mini DSP, which I definitely recommend, it's an inline box you hook up to your computer with USB, and you load these EQ curves into this little box. It's like $100, $125, real simple, and you don't have to put a correction EQ curve into like your favorite plugin because you load it into this box, and then this box spits your signal out to your speakers. What I'm going to do is I am going to say that it's a mini DSP box. And it's going to be a full range speaker because we're working on my Calis. I'm not going to worry about the low frequency cutoff. My target level, we're going to say that it's 78 dB. And then my match range, this is where it's going to affect from 35 hertz to 500 hertz. And that's what I want to affect. I want to handle this low end thing. Let's see. Target. I want my target to be different. I think I just have, maybe I didn't hit enter on something. No, I want this to be that. There we go. So there's my target. Maybe we'll adjust this down to 76. Okay, 76 looks pretty good. You know, let's make it 77. Kind of split the difference between 76 and 78. Because then we're pretty close if we're looking at our graph here. But we're just going to affect from 35 hertz up to 500 hertz. Individual max boost is going to be 9 dB because I know from 78 up to our frequency up here, it's 82, so it's within that range. That's fine. Overall max boost, the 0 is fine. Flatness target is 3 dB, so that means it's like generally going to be about that. So then we're going to do, optimize gains, cues, and frequencies. When I hit this, it's going to scan through. And then, where is it? Should be down here. It should be showing me that it will flatten everything out. Okay, so I just hit match response to targets. Now I'm going to optimize gains, cues, and frequencies now that I've already scanned everything. And then, so here, up here, let's make this real big. You can now see that the original, I wish I could change this color, but I can't right now. So up here, here's what my Calis are, and the blue line is the target. And then this other green one, which I'm going to take off, this is now the predicted change from these EQ curves. And what we're going to do is we're going to save them and just load them into FabFilter. So you can see if I have them both on, this peak here is the Calis as on their own, and then after an EQ curve that we're going to put in, it's that much closer to being at 77 dB. So let's save our export filter settings as text, and what we're going to do is we're going to do Cali. Oh, this is right. Calibrate 5/5/2020. It's going to ask me where I want to save it. Calibrate 5/5/2020. File name, probably Calibrate 2020 05 05. Lovely. Okay, so that's the right. We've done the right. We know our curves for the right, and we're just going to use, it looks like, 4 bands of EQ. We might do more if we need, but modal analysis, we're not going to worry about that. Resonances, we're not going to worry about that. Okay, so we've done the right. Let's do the left. We have our left selected. EQ, make it nice and big. Everything else, we're going to just double check everything real quick. Mini DSP. And we're doing mini DSP because it'll give us like easy numbers that we can read for our gains, our Qs, and our center frequencies. Target dB, we want this to match, so 77. We see our blue line comes up to there. Low frequency cutoff, that's fine. So all of that is the same. We're going to affect from 35 up to 50. 70% of the match is above this. It's okay. It's going to analyze. So it analyzed the original signal and created some EQ curves to match. But what we're going to do is we're going to optimize our gains, Qs, and frequencies just to make sure that everything's good. And now you can see that for our left speaker, it's actually going to use 5 EQ filters, EQ bands. And it doesn't matter the order of them. That doesn't matter. So we're going to export filter settings as a text. Cali left 55 2020. That's just the note. Cali left 2020 0505. It's right on my desktop. Okay, so here we go. We have everything set. I am going to close this. I'm going to save this. Cali measurement May 5. I have a folder on my desktop, or I have a folder in my computer that just has some of my other measurements. You can see that's what these MDAT files are. Just going to save it. We're going to quit. Yes, we'll save. That's fine. I thought we already did this. Cali, right. Okay. Now let's get into Studio One. I'm going to show you how to load this into something like FabFilter. And that's what I'm going to use because I can go ahead and put EQs on the left and right speakers individually. While this is loading on my desktop is where I saved these 2 text files. And these are what we're going to do. So we're going to go in here. I already have a session opened up. Now, in my room, not my send. I'm going to put this, what I do so that it only affects me and it doesn't affect you guys when it's on stream, is I put it in my post section here because this is where you guys listen. And I'll just change this color. You know, you guys listen to orange, I listen to gray. So whenever I load one up, I throw it into the post section here. And you can see my old one, which is Cali room correction. Here's my old one. This is when I was facing the other way. Who's buzzing me? What was that? That's nothing. This is the calibration file for when I was facing the other way. Now, the new one we're going to make is going to be slightly different. And here's how we do it. We're going to start off with the left, which has, let's see if I can make this bigger. Format, text. Let's just, there we go. Oops. Okay. So I'm going to add an EQ band. And I'm going to put it on the left only, which I could do over here, actually. I'll make it a little easier. The first one is at 138 hertz, and it's minus 8.9 dB with a Q of 2.036. I can take this and punch it into here. So 138 minus 8.9, 2.038. Now on just my left, I'm going to have this cut to balance this speaker in this position in this room. Right? 036, I think that was all right. I was close. Oops. Come here. Oh, come on. 2.036. Now I'll add another point. And it doesn't matter where I add it because I'm just going to change everything anyway. At 442, 442, I'm going to do minus 3.4 with a Q of 1. Minus 3.4 with a Q of 1. The next one will be at 96.1. Nope. Just need to change this to a bell. 96.1. Needs 2.3 dB of gain. And its Q will be 1.112. 1.112. Let's see, I need two more. One at 47. 47.7. Right? Yep. Minus 5.8. Minus 5.8. With a Q of 5. And then another one at 104.5 with a 1.8 dB bump. So let's just add one in. Oh, that was really close. 104.5 is going to have a slight bump of 1.8 and a Q of 5. So that's the left side. Now I can go in and add some more to the right side and use the other document to balance things out. And just zoom this in. Change that so it's all on one line. Makes things easy. Okay. So now I'm just going to add one up here, and I'm going to change it to the right, which is the red line. We're only using 4 on this, so 144. 144 gets minus 14.5. Wow. Minus 14.5. Seems very drastic, but we can always refine these things. I can do more measurements later and make sure that everything's cool. The Q of 1.042. 1.042. Add another point in at 198.5. 98.5. Gets an 8.9 dB bump. 8.9 up. Certainly interesting. Something tells me that these Qs are wrong for the right. So we may have to go back. The Q of 1, because that counteracts itself. But that's just on the right. So we'll see. 106. Let's try and add one in. Nope. Not that. 106. 6.5 dB bump. So something got messed up. 6.5 bump. It's like the Qs on the right weren't adjusted. The bandwidth. 1.499. Because you can see how this one is centered in between these two, but why would it have to balance out like that? 373.1. 373.1 gets minus 3 and a Q of 1. Okay, so it looks crazy. But in theory, this is now balancing my room. I think it's a little off because I think something got messed up with the right, but that's okay. All right, so what's going on here? I'm going to throw into this track, but I'm also going to throw a tone generator on. And this will help you guys hear. It's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to do pink noise at minus 18. Oops, come on, minus 18. All right. So you will hear this change. And it may or may not sound good for you. Most likely it won't. Honestly, I think the right got messed up a little bit, so I'm going to go back and do those later. Or redo the filters later. But you will hear this. On the left and right, it's going to sound different. So on its own, without the filters in, pink noise. That's what pink noise sounds like. I'm going to turn it back on, and then I'm going to turn on Fab Filter. Let me put this up here and open up Fab Filter. So here comes the pink noise again, and then you'll see me turn it on, and it will change how it sounds. So with that, in theory, my speakers are now more calibrated to my room to give me an accurate representation across the frequency spectrum. Is it perfect and flat? No, but it's flatter. And that's the most important thing. That's why you were doing a lot of this stuff. That's why you put in acoustic treatment. That's why you get things like Fab Filter Pro Q and the measurement mic and all this other stuff, or Sonar Works. This is essentially what it's doing. Again, I think something happened on my right side. That's why like there's those big boosts, and then there's also drastic cut on the right. So I need to double check that. Well, we can just reopen REW and go back to our previous thing and do it right now. That's why we saved. Open. Cali measurement May 5. This was the one. Okay. Let's double check. 5. Nope, not room sim. EQ. Mini DSP. Yep. Target 77, full range. That's fine. Shrink these guys down. Filter from 35 to 500. Yep. Individual max boost 9. I don't know why that didn't match response to target. We found our 4 again. So let's try exporting. That's just a note. I don't care about that. On the desktop, Calibrate 2. 20, 05, 05. Now we'll see if it actually adjusted and made this thing better. And that's just checking the text file, which is on the desktop. So looks like it has the same ones. Let's investigate. Let's reset. Okay, reset. Cool. Let's match again. In here, we could go and manually do it. So like here's our frequency. So if we wanted to add one in, $198, it's really showing that something's going on. I don't know. It gave me the same numbers, so I'm thinking maybe it's the same. Hey, what's going on? Brandon! Just see, I can message through here. Oh, yeah, you can. Brandon, thanks for hanging out. I've been going through REW, and I already have it loaded in. This is my new curve, if you're still watching. This is my new curve for flipping the room. Now, I think there's something going on, because the rights seem off to me. Let's just look at this. I wonder if I change this to be 400. Allow narrow filters below 200. Let's check this. It's now just using, let's reset. I'm just checking some stuff, resetting, matching again. When is that? That's at 46. Let's put you down to 20 then. Feel like something's bad. Brandon, that 144 hertz is modal issue for sure. Yes, it absolutely is. It's actually 130, 140. You're close though. Pumping 14 dB into it may not help much. It's actually a 14 dB cut. It's a ridiculous cut. You can change the max overall boost too. Yeah. The max individual max boost is 9. Overall boost maybe 4. So that actually seems way better. Let's optimize gains, cues, and frequencies. Well, let's export this one. Calibrate 3. Right on the desktop. And that's this guy. So compared to our original guy, definitely different. So let's try this. Let's go back to a Pro EQ. And everything that's on the right, we're just going to get rid of. You're on the right, you go away. You're on the right, you go away. You're on the right, you go away. So we have our lefts. Let's add our new one in on the right and follow the new one, number 3. 132.8. 132.8. Gets minus 12.4. Minus 12.4 with a Q of 1.532. 1.532. Let's see, 104.8 gets a big boost. 104.8. There's a 9 dB boost. With a Q of 1.549. 1.549. You got 277. That was close. 277. 227. Aha. 227. 6.9. 1.707. 364. 364 gets minus 3.7. at a Q of 1, and then another at 46.9. Hey, look at that. 46.9 minus 3.7 with a Q of 5. So that looks a little bit more balanced. Brandon, if you're still in, I'm curious what you think about this. But let's take another listen. We're going to bypass. Again, this is for my room. You will hear a difference, but it's going to sound better for me because this is individual. You'll have to do this for your room. So it definitely sounds like it's working. Actually, just want to push this to the right only. What is this? Definitely measure individually in RAW to see what changes it made. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll probably have to do that at a different time. Hey, what's that, Lewis? Lewis or Luis? Thanks for the sub. I think I'm gonna have to save that for a different time. Let's go back to REW real quick. Let's see. Predicted is this line. Beep beep bop. Target. So turn that off. So you can see what it's trying to do. It's trying to balance everything out for the rights, and it's using the five filters. Do 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 do. So there, beep, beep, beep. Sorry, I'm just checking something on my phone real quick. I got an email. It's about work stuff. Update 4:30. Okay, cool. That's fine. I think it's definitely a good start. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to save this. Save as. Cali. Room. Correction. 2. Because I don't want to overwrite the old one. I just want a new one. And there we go. Now, whenever I open up a song, I can throw this. I'm just going to replace that. So now on my main output, which won't affect you guys going to stream or anything like that, I have some room correction going on. This will change again slightly when I put a cloud in to take care of some more stuff that's going on back behind me. So some of these things may balance out a little bit. That, in a nutshell, in an hour-long nutshell, is how you can measure and throw some corrective EQs into your room. Oh, goodness. It's how you can throw some corrective EQ stuff into your room. We went over a lot. There's a lot of information, but really the basics come down to you need a measurement microphone. Again, I'm using this $50. Bring it over here again. Come here. Lodging alignment different, optimized against those RAW later to check that video. Sorry, I was just checking something over here. This is the Dayton Audio EMM6. This is at partsexpress.com. You can get it for about $50. Sometimes it goes on sale and you can get it for $40. This comes with the calibration file. Then you just need to plug this into your interface, and with some settings that we went over earlier, making sure that the levels going in are good, that the levels coming out are good, that REW knows to use your, let's go to here real quick, knows to use the correct outputs of your interface so that it can go to the left and right respectively, things like that. And you need to make sure that your speakers are calibrated. I may need to double check mine from the move. Maybe my right is a little off. Maybe my left is a little high. I can go and recalibrate my speakers to make sure that they're at the right volume or the dB/SPL output. So it's a long nutshell, but you can see how you can get it done in about an hour. You can take more time to do it, and obviously every time you do more acoustics, acoustic treatment in your room, you should do a couple more measurements. Make sure that you're helping your room and not hurting your room. Also, I'm still fighting a couple things. That's the TV that was on the wall over there. So it's a big reflective surface and bouncing stuff around. And that's going to go away in a little bit. And then it'll just be wall there. Maybe I'll put like a little table or something here. You know, who knows? But that'll also change how the room sounds. It'll change how the room reacts to stuff. So it's things to keep in mind. Now, let's see. I'm curious if you guys have any questions. Feel free to throw them into chat. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm also curious. We have the opportunity to kind of see how to start building. Somebody asked on, I think it was, could have been either Facebook or Reddit, how to build a song, being a single person, as if I was a 3-piece band. So that would be, you know, just a simple rock song. So drums, bass, guitar. We can get into that, or we can stick with home acoustics, and we'll do the live stream on Thursday. It can just be like building a song from scratch. One thing I will say about building a song from scratch is having an idea going in. Even if it's not a completely hashed out idea, if you have an idea going into your home studio of what you want to do, then it definitely makes things way easier. For instance, on my phone, and I hope that you guys do this on your phone as well, I just use voice memos. Boom. You can see I got a bunch of different ideas here. One's going back all the way to July 24th of 2015. It's a minute and a half of whatever I was noodling. If you have an idea, you have your guitar in your hand, you got your piano, and you're playing some stuff, just open up voice notes or whatever memo thing you have. Something that doesn't have to be anything great, just something to get the idea recorded somewhere. This now gives you a baseline of building a song. So this thing that I have from January 24th of 2019 is what I thought was probably pretty decent, something I could build off of. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the whole thing. You heard, I messed up. Who cares? That's just an idea. Now what I can do, and this is from January of last year, so nearly a year and a half ago, is I can start building on this again. I can just easily grab my guitar, which I hope is mostly in tune. Come on, Strap. Get off of there. And rediscover where those notes were to start building something. That's pretty close. Doesn't even have to sound good because I'm not even plugged in. You know, that could be really cool. It could be kind of like almost like a post-hardcore kind of thing. We can make it real like upbeat-ish. That could be a lot of different things, but it's definitely the start of something. And maybe that just goes on top of like some really basic chords. So who knows? That could be something. So I'm curious what you guys want. Put it into the chat. Do you want to build something on this little riff? Oops. Or was it this maybe? Nope, it was definitely this one. So should we build something on that? Should we go over more acoustic stuff? Should we really refine mine? I'm curious what you guys want. Also, if you guys have just any general questions, go ahead and ask them. I'll do my best to answer them as I can. Maybe pulling up some examples and showing them to you guys. You know, I'm not the greatest guitar player. I'm mediocre at best, but it helps me get the ideas across. And doing this channel actually has made me work on it a little bit more, so that I can write stuff to be able to work with you guys on. Let's do this. File, close. Sure, we can save that. That's fine. So let's create. Here, let me switch you guys over real quick. As if we're going to build this. So let's call this, it's definitely going to be in 4/4. It's going to be kind of faster. I wish there was a tap tempo right on here. I don't think there is, but we'll change it later. So let's just put it to 150. We'll say that's 4 minutes. That's fine. 48K is my normal 32-bit float. I want this to be in the correct folder, which I have a very interesting and creative little scheme of stuff. Where is my orange? And then I'll just go down to me. Tim. There, I'll just put it in here. And we'll call it triplet riff, because that's fine. Doesn't need to have a name. We'll name it later. Now, since we're in here, we can add our tracks. We're going to do, just thinking simply, we're going to need a bass track. We're going to need a couple guitar tracks. So let's just do GTR, and we'll do 4 for now. We're going to need an instrument, some kind of drum instrument, for example. Hey, there it is. Okay, so let's close that one. And just for now, we'll use SSD5. We'll put this on its own thing. Come on, load. Sometimes it takes a bit, and that's fine. Hey, there it is. This is the latest version of SSD5. I think it's 5.5. There's a bunch more samples in here and everything. So we'll pull open any beefy dry. We'll just pull open any kit and we'll let it load up. Now at least we have the starting points of a song. Do all of our arrangements. So we have drums, we have bass, and we have guitar. So thinking if we're going to do like a real simple like trio or quad rock group, there's everything you need. And I actually think we are going to just stop here. And this is where we'll pick up on Thursday for our live stream, is we'll build this song on Thursday. We'll also use this template, or actually we'll probably just start fresh for a whole new stream of literally starting from just that riff, and we'll do everything over again. But now we already know that in here it will sound more balanced because of everything that I've done. So I'm going to switch back to this one, and I'm going to say thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you learned some stuff about room acoustics, room treatment, being able to throw some EQ filters into your room to help balance out things that are similar to the DSP things like SonarWorks Reference 4 and IK Multimedia's, I think, ARC system. Essentially is what we did. Kyle, I had to force Studio One to rebuild its plugin cache to get SSD 5.5 to work. That sounds unfortunate and tedious, and I'm sorry that you had to go through it. I have a ton of plugins. I got a ton of instruments as well. I may need to do that myself. Now, I don't have a ridiculous amount, but I do have a lot. So it might not be bad for me to go in and rebuild the cache, just to let things load in a little easier. We'll see. I hope you guys can all come back and join me on Thursday. We are going to build this little riff that I did, that I had from January of last year. Let's build this into a song together, and we'll take it all the way from infancy of absolutely nothing other than the idea, all the way up to ideally a finished product. Maybe, we'll throw some VST drums in there because I don't have the room in here. I mean, technically, I guess I could fit some drums in here, but I'm not going to because I'm not going to put my family through that. My family's just outside that door right there. Wait, they don't want that. But we'll do some VST instrument stuff in here. We will DI our a bass and some guitars. I have a couple options over here that we can plug everything in, show you how to set levels, how to build the ideas, and go from there. And maybe we'll see if as we go through everything, a couple of my buddies might join in and throw some ideas in. So with that, we'll call it here. I'm going to once again say thanks for coming and hanging out with me today. I appreciate everybody who hopped in, was active in the chat, and said, hey, I'm glad to see you all in here. If you do have any questions, leave it in the comments, and I'll either answer it in a video that comes out every Monday at 9 a.m. on my channel, or I will answer it in a stream. Put it in a comment, send me an email, go to www.timflansbaum.com to reach out to me through there. And if you found anything informative in this, please like and share the video so that more people can see it as well. There is a lot of information that is in this video, so I get it, but this shows you in how in about an hour you can go from your room to a more linear sounding room. And it's always going to be individual. It's always going to be to your room, because my room is not your room, and you don't have what I have in here, and the walls that I have, and where the windows are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's always different. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I appreciate everybody for taking some time to hang with me, and I will see you on Thursday.